We had begun 6 years ago with the sidewalk counseling. We started by praying, and then we realized that we had to speak to people, and we couldn't just pray. We had to offer them help. And in speaking to them, we came to know the trials they were facing, the difficulties. We came to know what it was that would make them even consider abortion as an option. And when we knew the answer to those questions, we knew there was so much more that needed to be done. So we worked hard to raise enough money to buy this beat-up building, worked hard to fix it up, and we began to offer diapers and clothing and real help.
It was a real exciting moment, I guess, and kind of in a way it was real scary because I was only 16 at the time when I found out I was pregnant.
She seemed to be afraid that I would be judgmental and feel really negative about the fact that they were pregnant.
Nobody's really wanted to help us. Everybody pretty much said, you did it, now you take care of it, and we're not going to help you.
So we talked a lot about the stages of early fetal development. I shared some pictures with her. And as I was talking to them about those kinds of things, I could see they were getting more and more excited about the possibility. And I had also explained to them how we could do ultrasound in the office, so not only could they see these beautiful color pictures of other unborn babies, but they could actually get to see their own child.
I think the more the ultrasounds I got to see, the more excited I got, because it's like, wow, there really is something growing in there. You know, that's really cool. Basically, I was living on the streets being pregnant, and they wanted to put me in a foster home, and they were going to take my baby away from me. And I wasn't going to get him back, and they were going to keep me in the foster home until I was 21.
Mariah was afraid that she would be placed somewhere where they would really push abortion or adoption, and she really wanted to raise her child. I really wanted to make sure that she was someplace safe. So one of our volunteers, whose children are grown, had offered to allow Mariah to stay with her.
I mean, not only can I get material clothing and stuff like that, but I can get support, and also, you know, I was in a really tough spot, and you gave me a place to stay. So, I mean, there's other alternatives if you need, you know, anything. This place is the #1 place to go in my book.
Kendra called the office. She told me that she wanted to come in. She was intending to have an abortion. She wanted to come here to have an ultrasound done to determine the fetal age. An abortionist bases his price on the age of the unborn child.
It was a very emotional time because I came to life choices with my mind set on having an abortion. I was a single mom at the time. His father left, so I couldn't imagine having another kid at the time. I was too scared that I wouldn't have any help once again.
In hearing that, I brought out the baby clothing. She could go through this box of some beautiful little boy things and pick out clothing for him. And we also promised her help with food for Thanksgiving, and Christmas gifts. We have different churches that help us with those projects. And as we shared, you know, I talked to her about how in choosing life for the newest baby, she would feel this beautiful sense of peace and joy in her heart, that the little life was sacred to God, and that we can never let fear, you know, motivate us in our decisions. When fear alone is our motivator, we always make bad choices.
Finally, when I let that, you know, let all that go, all those ideas of not getting any help and being stuck, I started crying. Like, you know, I just became overwhelmed with basically joy, because I was happy that I wasn't doing it, because it was sort of like a burden. I felt really bad for even thinking about doing it.
After that, I suggested that we go ahead with the ultrasound so that she could kind of celebrate the joy of that decision by seeing the little baby. And there we could see his heart beating, wiggling, dancing around, you know, kind of swimming. And we took a lot of photos, beautiful little pictures of that baby for her to bring home.
You told me that you would help with diapers, food, and you did. Car seats, strollers, anything I needed, and you did. If I needed help with any bills, if you could help, you would. And anything I ever needed, you came through for me.
Monica came to us when Casey was an infant, her first child, and she needed help with things, a lot of material things. They were immigrants, they were struggling to make ends meet, and so we were able to help them to take care of their first child. And she returned later for a pregnancy test. We were excited. We had seen the first child grow. We expected her to view the news with great joy.
So I came here and the test was positive, and I was very, very scared. I broke down and cried because I didn't know whether I was going to keep the baby or get rid of the baby.
And it turned out that her husband, really feeling that they weren't ready for another child, had told her that if the pregnancy test was positive, that they should make an appointment for an abortion. We offered her our telephone to call home and speak to her family in Africa. We knew that they would support her and be excited to hear about another child. And we even emailed an ultrasound picture of that new little baby home, knowing that the more people knew that baby existed, the safer that little life was.
You and Arlene consoled me, and he spoke with my husband, and everything was okay.
Several months later, after ongoing communication, I received a phone call, and it was Monica's husband. And he said, "Joan, today God's blessed me with a new son." He was very excited. It's beautiful. Arlene and I went to visit at the hospital, and we were able to see and hold the baby, only a couple days old.
I have the baby. He's two years old now.
I remember scraping the floors and the tar off the floor in the center and looking over at Arlene and saying, "You think anybody will ever come? Will women really come here?" We had great hope, but we had no idea. And now we see 450 new women every year, 80 to 120 women a week. And I guess that's the answer to that question. I asked while we were on the floor, will women ever come? Yes.
These are my children, Casey and Dylan. I call him Boomstick because he was very tiny when I had him, and he's the second pregnancy that I didn't expect, but he's here now and he's great. And so for everyone out there, look at Dylan and don't ever think about having an abortion.
Because people support our work and our shelves are full of diapers and formula and baby food, they're not always full, but when those things are there, or we have things to share with people, in that way we can continue to show them that people really do care about them. It's a way of showing through. Some people come to understand God's love and concern for them when they see that there are people, good Christian people, who continue, without maybe even knowing them, to stock our shelves so that we can be there when the time comes that they do have needs.